Hi and welcome to another Photoshop manipulation video, and for this week guys what we're going to be doing is focusing on something a little bit different than I usually do. Now normally I'm a little bit more focused on my kind of like sci-fi art and stuff like that, but I was having a little look online once again for some inspiration, and I found this particular sniper online, and I gotta be honest, yeah, I just fell in love with the character straight away. So like I go, what we're going to be doing is turning all the actual layers off, and we're going to be going through exactly how I went about creating it. But first of all, like I say, I was having a look online and I come across this guy here who looks absolutely badass. He really, really does. Now, normally when you look at stock photos of people dressed up in army gear and stuff like that, a lot of them, they don't look very good, let's be honest. It doesn't look like proper army gear, but this guy, whether he's a professional sniper or whatnot else, hit it up to the max and he looks absolutely fantastic. And another thing that I actually really liked about it was the perspective. Now, obviously, the person who took a photo of him is more like lead on the ground or like really crouched down low, and they're shooting the photo looking up. So we got a completely different change of perspective to a lot of the image that I make, which is pretty much straightforward. So it's nice and quite refreshing to be doing something a little bit different. So when I actually went about looking for some images for this guy to actually be in, obviously we had to try and match that perspective as well. So this is the actual one that I found, and I gotta say, it worked out really, really well. Absolutely love this. So obviously, as you can see, we've got this these mountain ranges, we've got the forest. This kind of gave me that Vietnam feel and stuff like that, you know, where they had that guerrilla warfare in the woods and stuff. Also, like, you know, a little bit like, you know, the old film Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, fantastic film, kind of giving me those kind of vibes. So I thought to myself, this is absolutely brilliant. We're going to be going with this. But obviously, the sky and that lot's bit boring. We don't want it in daylight as well, because it's not going to be very dramatic or very interesting to actually be looking at. So there's certain things that we needed to be changing, but this was definitely the base image that I wanted to go for. And as you can see here, where we got the trees here, it's quite feasible that we got a nice hill that this guy's walking up as well. So let us begin. So first of all, one thing I needed to find was a nice dramatic like sky. So having a little look, and we come across this one here. So this is a beautiful sunset going down. Obviously, I haven't made any changes whatsoever. I really liked it. Nice deep red colors as well, because as you've seen with the final image, I got things like exploding, I got some fire and stuff like that, and the red and the oranges in this particular sky is going to match the way that the rest of the image is going to look. So this was absolutely perfect, so I didn't want to make any change to it whatsoever. So we'll miss this fire bit out here. So let's go to the forest here quickly. Right. Obviously, I'm not going to go through how I actually masked it out. I presume that most people already know. But basically with this, all I did was took a brush and just basically painted a lot of it away. And I used color balance just to get rid of the edges. Now, obviously, as you can see with this one, if I can zoom in quickly, move it across. Okay. As you can see, we've got a lot of fringing around the tree and whatnot else. So I'm going to have to correct that as well. And then obviously we've got a lot of this mist as well, which I didn't want to get rid of. So I've got it just basically nicely tidied up kind of onto this kind of area here. Obviously, this is a lot brighter at the moment. And then we've got this real harsh area here. But one thing I did do was set up exactly where I wanted my sniper to go. So I already cut them out and whatnot else, which was a little bit painstaking because some of the camouflage that he's got is see-through and up with the little holes and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a pain, but I really wanted to make sure that it looked absolutely spot on, because he is very big in the image and he is the main focal point as well. So once I got it set up, so I wasn't really worried about this particular area. So basically, obviously, what we wanted to do was set in some curves. Now, I used the curves adjustment level layer. As you can see here, oh no, you can't, sorry, because of the way the screen is. Very clever of me. But basically what I've done is use the point pickers from the dark areas, medium, and then the light as well. And I've just kind of like matched it to the sky. And this is the kind of vibe that we actually got. So obviously it matched it quite well with the curves. It's a bit touch and go sometimes I find with curves. It drives me up. Maybe I'm just not the best. So then obviously we're going to drop some exposure. We want to make this look very dark. We wanted to make it look like sunset, because obviously we got the sun coming from this direction here. So it's lighting up the sky. So the light's coming from behind the mountain. So obviously it's coming from behind. This area here is going to be a lot darker. Now obviously it'd be completely different if the light was facing more into it. There would be more light. But obviously with this, it makes it a little bit, obviously it's going to make it a lot more darker. And obviously then we can have it a bit. Wow. Okay, so basically with this, I've just made in some basic errors. Now, what errors? What we do? We just scroll in 2 seconds. Now, what we've got here is we've got this tree here. So now it's kind of like blending in a little bit better. And what I've done was make some corrections. I don't know if you can actually see it or not, but basically there was still some light where there was actually some fringing in that lot. Basically just took a color and just painted over it. So didn't really have to worry about it so much because it was so dark, so I could get away with it quite easily. Right, so let's just go back out again, and we have exposure once again, because at the bottom here, we're still quite light. Didn't want it to be light, obviously, because especially at the base of the trees, with the light coming from the background there, this area is going to be a lot darker, so get rid of that out of the way. So that was the forest pretty much done. So obviously, as you can see, a lot of this doesn't seem to quite match this other, but once we get the helicopter and other things in there, it will nicely cover up those kind of areas. I didn't have to worry about it too much. Now, first of all let me just dig out now, I found this particular image, and it was actually like shot in the sky, and it was just like clear white. It was absolutely perfect. You know what I mean? So I could use some color balance just to cut this out and keep a lot of all this smoke that was already there, and then just like cut the rest of it out, and it worked out really, really well. Obviously, if it blended into the background a lot more, I wouldn't have been able to keep the smoke, and I've had to like recreate a lot of it. But I actually managed to keep a lot of it with the color range as well. So that was absolutely brilliant. Made life a lot easier as well. So obviously, as you can see here with the helicopter, we got 2 folders. I don't know why I have, but there we go. Okay, so basically, let me just turn. Oh, we got it. That'd be easy. Right, okay, so this is the helicopter. So basically, this is what I first looked like when I actually cut it out, obviously with the color range, and tidied it up with a pen tool. So we got here, obviously it looks horrendous. A lot of areas here as well. So first of all, what I wanted to do was get the curves, match it with the sky once again, you know, just to blend it in and whatnot else, so that absolutely works right. And obviously, once again, this area is going to be a lot darker because of obviously the light's coming from the other direction as well, even though there isn't that much light. But then we've got obviously these flames as well. So basically, as you can see, as these come on here, as I click in, as you'll notice, all these little lights here. Let me just scroll in, make it a little bit easier. Got them here. Basically, as you can see, I'm just making basic corrections. So I'm just painting stuff in, painting stuff in, painting stuff in, painting stuff in. So basically all I'm using is like a smoke brush and stuff like that. But I'm having a little bit of light here. Obviously we've got like explosions and stuff like that. So everything's shooting off. We've tidied up the smoke here as well. Because obviously with this smoke, which one is it? Okay, so obviously, as you can see with the back of the helicopter at the moment, like this kind of area here, obviously this needed tidying up quite a lot. So basically, it's putting the smoke. So all I did was basically just get a nice smoke brush, use the same color as what it is there, and then going over all the harsh edges and whatnot else, just to make it sit so it absolutely looks right. Then, for some reason, I don't know why I put it in the thing, but obviously I wanted to make some more changes. Didn't look quite right whatsoever. So then I just darkened it up as well and sorted out some exposure, double exposure. I'm not too sure what I've done with that one there. I'm going to not lie. What I tend to do is I tend to put a lot of layers on, so I have more control over what I'm doing. So I use exposure lower one area, and then I use exposure to cover another area. And then what I find then is I can go back and do different pieces and stuff. Now, I know a lot of people just use one, you know, for like curves and stuff like that. I tend to a lot more. I just feel like I got more control. Whether it gives me more work or not, I'm not too sure, but it makes me feel a lot better in the work that I actually do. So obviously now, as you can see, with this helicopter, it's nicely seated in, looking absolutely amazing. So what we've got now is the sniper. Now, the sniper guy, like I say, he was a little bit difficult to cut out in some areas, especially as you can see up across the top. Here we go. We'll just scroll into this area here. So obviously, as you can see, we've got the little hat there, the edges here. I wanted to make sure that it looked right. I didn't want to actually like use any other bits and that lot and put it on. So I ended up cutting around it. Obviously, like the holes through here as well. So it's a little bit fiddly, whatnot else. But like I say, I didn't want to just chop things out and then put things on. I wanted to actually use the original photo, so absolutely perfect. So once again, what I've done was the curve. So now we're making, like I said, as you can see, everything's coming together. It's making it dramatic. The sniper now covering up this horrible area that we got in the middle here. Like, it's terrible. It doesn't look very nice. So Sniper sits in there, covers all that up very, very nicely. This helicopter here is using all this smoke, covering all that up as well. So it looks and sits very, very well. Then we went in for some exposure as well. I wanted to make him, obviously, like I say, dark. The light's coming from behind him, so he's going to be quite dark. And waltzing through here. Now what I did was put a little bit of exposure. So basically, I've got this one here to make him nice and dark from the side. Then I just wanted to put accent a little bit of light, just to try and draw the subject out a little bit so he doesn't blend too much into the background. Use a little bit of light across his shoulders and across the top of his head as well, so it looked quite nice. And then we added this one here. Basically, this is another exposure. This is what I'm showcasing. Like, I like to use different ones. So basically what I do then is I'll paint it all up and have it the way I like it. And if I'm not too sure about something, I've got all these different layers. I can switch this one off. I can change the opacity and it'll just target the one area. So that's why I like to keep it separate. I just feel like it gives me a lot more control. And then once it was situated in, I was really, really happy with the way that it looked. And as you can see, it wasn't really that much of a difficult image to actually put together. It was trying to find the right perspective, trying to get everything right together. And then basically I just went into, oh yeah, that's one thing I did forget. Sorry, my apologies, is the actual fire. So obviously we wanted to make it a look more dramatic. So we've got all these missiles flying in. Boom! We need some explosions. We need something for it to hit. So obviously there's the guerrillas or whatever you else want to call them, terrorists, all in the woods there. He's pointed out exactly where they are, took a few guys out, he's leaving the area, helicopter is coming in, and bang, he's taken out. And as you can see, like with the fire and the smoke, it actually matches into the background really, really well as well. So we've got all these oranges and reds, everything ties in very, very prettily. And all it did then was add, obviously, Control-Alt-E, put it all together, and then I just went into basically Camera Raw and then just made some settings on that one. Basically, I just put some contrast, some texture, a little bit of clarity, things like that, and then obviously I did some color correction and stuff like that as well. Sadly, I did not do it as in what's called it, convert it to a smart object. I do apologize. I've got a really bad habit of forgetting to do that so that I can actually video. But basically that is, guys, that's how I actually put this one together. Very, very simple. Very easy to do pretty much, as long as you can use masking and whatnot else. And like I say, find your subject, use that as some inspiration of the way that you want to go, but also set up, sketch your actual images out first of all, where everything you want it to go, because there's no point doing more work than what you need to be. And this is what I mean with the sniper. So there's no point me trying to sort out the back of this area if the sniper is going to go there. Do you know what I mean? So just bear that in mind. Just little simple things like that can save you a lot of time. I hope you guys found this very useful, and I will be coming back once again next week with another image. I've got lots and lots of them actually already made up that I've actually done during good old COVID. So they're done and they're dusted, so I will be bringing them out once a week. But anyway, guys, hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for staying tuned. Bye-bye.